The Lear fan was designed in the 1970s to be a modern, fast, and efficient turboprop. Like the Starship, it featured two Pratt & Whitney engines, but in this case, both engines drove a single 4-bladed propeller. It was built almost entirely of graphite and Kevlar composite materials, and it was designed to carry a total of 8 people with a cruise of around 300 knots. Unfortunately, Bill Lear passed away before the first flight, and the final design ended up being much heavier than originally planned. His wife Moya Lear then took leadership and led the team to have the first flight.
He'd have been flying. He'd be very, very proud of this aircraft because this is the best one. It's nice and solid. It's built beautifully.
However, due to bankruptcy and design flaws, the Lear fan was canceled after just 3 aircraft were made. Today, the 3 Lear fans are on display in different museums in Seattle, Dallas, and Oklahoma City. Here's a great clip from a mini documentary about the Lear fan program. I sure wish there was one flying today.
The aircraft that is now flown is not Bill Lear's airplane. It looks like it. It is not what he had intended. It would be very sad.
From the same designer of the world's smallest jet came the BD-10. Designed by Jim Beatty throughout the mid-1980s to early 1990s, the goal of the BD-10 was to be the world's first kit-built supersonic airplane. Its intended top speed was a whopping Mach 1.4, but its actual top speed was closer to Mach 0.83. The entire project was rocky from the start, and its development was continued under the company's Fox 10 and later Peregrine Flight International. Only 5 BD-10s were ever built, and 3 of them underwent catastrophic structural failures, thus crashing and killing the pilot in all 3 cases.
The BD-10 was designed not only with performance in mind, but also for safety, reliability, durability, and just plain old-fashioned quality.
Today, only 2 examples remain, and both are unflyable. From the British designer Ian Chichester Miles came the CMC Leopard. The Leopard was a light personal business jet that had impressive performance numbers. It featured a pressurized cabin, top speed of over 460 knots, and a range of 1,726 miles. Its control surfaces were unique due to it using tailerons instead of ailerons. The first prototype flew in 1988 and the second flew in 1996. Development was slow, and despite it being a great little jet, production was stopped after the second prototype. Chief designer Ian Chichester Miles passed away in 2009, and further development was brought to an end with his death. The 2 prototypes remain in different museums in England.
This new engine offers a future of much lower costs, lower noise levels, and lower fuel consumption, all characteristics of the new thinking for the new century.
During the mid-2000s, the very light jet movement was gaining speed, and the D-Jet was Diamond's response to the public demand. It featured a single Williams FJ33 turbofan jet engine and had a design cruise speed of 315 knots while carrying a total of 5 people. The D-Jet seemed like it was going to be a successful design, however Diamond ran into issues in funding and the program was placed on the shelf after just 3 prototypes were built. There is a slight hope that the D-Jet may come back in the future, as a Chinese company who owns a large share of Diamond stated that they are reassessing the program. But if you ask me, I'd say it's unlikely, but I would love to see it back in action. While we're on the subject of very light jets, the Piper jet was Piper's vision of a single-engine jet. The Piper jet was designed off the same fuselage cross-section as Piper's Matrix and Malibu propeller-driven aircraft. Its intended cruise speed was 360 knots while carrying a total of 7 people. The original Piper jet proof of concept had a successful flight in July of 2008 and was later rebranded as the Piper Jet Altair after some design changes. However, the Altair never came to fruition and the project was halted in 2011 due to economic reasons. Another very light jet bites the dust. Also in the mid to late 2000s, aircraft companies joined a movement to create light sport airplanes that would appeal to pilots that did not have a medical certificate. The Cessna Skycatcher was Cessna's response to the light sport movement and would feature simplicity with modern technology perfect for flight schools. A total of 275 were built between 2009 and 2013, and its intended sale price was supposed to be $100,000 or less. But like with many things in aviation, the actual price started to increase drastically up to $149,000. This lowered the demand for the Skycatcher, especially when a pilot can purchase an old airplane for a fraction of the cost. The Skycatcher program was halted at the end of 2013, but many remain in service around flight schools today. Mooney was another company that wanted to enter the aviation training market with its M10. The Mooney M10 was a 3-seat carbon fiber airplane intended to be the trainer of the future. It featured sleek looks and that iconic backwards Mooney tail. Its intended top speed was a very respectable 180 knots, although the real numbers are hard to come by. According to Mooney, the M10 was mainly just a proof of concept, which would then make way for a future airplane design. Some also speculate that the Cirrus SR-20 has a strong hold in the market for airplanes similar to the M10, so perhaps the economic outlook for Mooney wasn't looking good. The M10 project was stopped in 2017, but Mooney has stated that the M10 provided a good education for further development of their aircraft. From the company that brought the popular unlimited aerobatic Extra 300 airplanes came the passenger class Extra 400 and the turboprop Extra 500. Both airplanes are made from composite materials and are pressurized. The Piston Extra 400 features a 325 horsepower Continental engine and can cruise at around 200 knots. On the other hand, the Turbine Extra 500 features a 450 horsepower Rolls-Royce turboprop and could cruise at 225 knots. And despite being a good design, the Piston Extra 400 was expensive to manufacture, and in the end, only 27 were made. Probably for reasons similar to its piston counterpart, production of the Extra 500 ended in 2015. Even though that landing gear is kinda weird, it would be nice to see these back in production. For our last airplane, we have one of the most unique designs yet with the Atom A500. The Atom A500 is a twin-engine, push-pull configuration airplane built mostly from carbon fiber and features a pressurized cabin. It could cruise at 220 knots and has a ceiling of 25,000 feet. Its sleek design definitely catches the eye, and the airplane was even featured in the 2006 movie Miami Vice. However, the design of the A500 may have been doomed from the start. As described by a Reddit user who was employed by Atom Aircraft, there were serious quality issues with the prototype build of the airplane. In the end, the payload of the Atom A500 was grossly underestimated and came out being a whopping 1,200 pounds overweight. There were 5 A500s sold, but now they are running into issues finding parts. There have been mentions of Triton Aerospace doing a complete redesign of the airplane, but I see it unlikely of going back into production. Despite its failure, I like the looks of the plane and would love to see it flying.
In early 2018, Hoversurf unveiled Formula, a flying car built with 3D printing technology and modeled after the Venturi electric turbine. With 4 folding wings and a sleek build, the Formula eliminates the use of rotary engines and external propellers that have become popular with drones. The single-seat design allows for it to take off and land in an area the size of a standard parking space. It has an estimated range of 186 miles and a flight time of 75 minutes with a top speed of 155 miles per hour. It's a safe assumption most people aren't going to be going that fast, so using it for short trips throughout the day seems the likely scenario in its current form. Pop up next is a hybrid air shuttle transport offering the flexibility of a ground vehicle with the freedom of a vertical aircraft. Composed of a three-part system, it utilizes a two-passenger capsule that attaches to either a ground module or air module. The air module utilizes 8 propellers to carry the capsule to and from its destination, where it's then attached to a ground module and driven like a standard automobile. In the air, it has an approximate range of 31 miles with a top speed of 93 miles per hour, while on the ground you're looking at a range of 81 miles with a top speed of 62 miles per hour. Having just come about in 2017, this one is currently in the prototype stages of flight testing. The City Airbus was designed as an efficient electric-powered air taxi system with a chopper-inspired styling. It has 4 batteries powering its 8 propellers, each with their own unique motor. The craft has an estimated flight time of 15 minutes at its cruising speed of 75 miles per hour. Set to launch by 2023, it features a roomy interior that can carry up to 4 passengers and a pilot, with plans underway to design a more compact, self-piloted aircraft.